And because I love freebies, and I would love to share them with others as well. There are a couple of things in your app that will help in terms of the mindfulness exercises and the wellness exercises to check in with yourself. Could you share a couple of them so that whoever walks away listening to this can definitely use it, daily?
So there's a really simple one, which I love to tell people, which comes from the study of positive psychology, which is called sort of daily gratitude. And you can do it every day. You can do it when you wake up, or you can do it, it's particularly powerful when you go to sleep. And I think that's where a lot of the research has been done. Where every day you think about 3 things that you are grateful for. So let's say you do it before you go to sleep. You have to think about 3 things. They can be really big, or they can be absolutely minuscule if you're struggling. But there's always got to be 3 things that you can find in your day. Even if you've had the worst day ever, it might just be, I really enjoyed the feeling of the sunshine on my skin when I walked to the office, or I made it on time today, and I didn't feel stressed when I arrived at work. Whatever it is, it can be really minuscule or it can be really big. But think of 3 things that went well or that you feel grateful for today, just before you go to sleep, so that this is kind of your last conscious thought where possible. And then it kind of helps to rewire the brain a little bit as you sleep. So, as we sleep, we know that our brain is doing all this sort of work in the background and sort of creating new neural pathways and doing all this connecting and things like that. So having that as your last conscious thought can really positively leave your brain kind of wearing over stuff at night, rather than quite often when we're stressed or anxious, we think about the negatives. What do we have to do next day? What am I stressed about? If you end on that positive note, you're more likely to wake up feeling more positive. And it's been proven to just give you more joy in life and to make you feel happier in life by regularly expressing gratitude and thinking about what you're grateful for. So that's a really easy, quick technique that doesn't take any time out of your day that I always recommend people do. Practice it regularly. It's a really good one to practice with kids as well, is to sort of every day talk to your kids about what do you feel grateful for? What do you feel happy about right now? And to get them sort of thinking about that and talking about it. Because we so easily express what we're feeling negative about, right? But we don't spend the time talking about the positives. So yeah, that would be one. Another thing that is really powerful and is really hard to do, and I absolutely do not do this perfectly, is we are our own worst critic. We are brutal to ourselves. We're always wanting ourselves to do better, to do more, to improve, to do faster, whatever it is. And we talk to ourselves in a really nasty way sometimes. So whenever you find yourself criticizing yourself or thinking, I should have done it like this, or, those should or wish I could statements that we kind of tell ourselves, stop yourself. First of all, try and start noticing when you do that. And then catch yourself when you're doing it and try and rephrase what you're saying to yourself in a way you would speak to a friend if they came to you and said that. So think if your friend sat down to you and said, I'm so annoyed because I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example here. Like I had that meeting with my boss and I didn't really express myself well enough in the way I want to, for example. I'm such an idiot. I'm a moron. I just can't believe my boss is never going to understand what I mean. I'm such an idiot. If somebody came to you and said that, you'd be like, hey, hang on. You're not an idiot. Mm-hmm. You just struggle to get what you wanted to say out in that moment. There'll be another opportunity. Maybe we can sit and prepare a little bit, but come on, don't be so hard on yourself. You'd be almost a bit shocked that someone was talking to themselves like that.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to yourself like that,
we're super judgy.
Yeah. Talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. Because we're so much nicer to other people than we are to ourselves. So that's another tip that is actually really hard because we all do it, right? Especially people that are high achievers, right? And do well at work and want to do well at work, is we constantly push ourselves for more and nothing's ever good enough. Just take a moment, catch yourself when you're doing that and say, hey, how would I speak to a friend or a loved one about this topic? And you can usually find more of a positive in it than just that kind of beating yourself up, because actually beating yourself up, whilst we think it triggers you to go on and do better, it actually has more of a negative impact than we realise. Whereas if you put a positive slant of like, oh yeah, okay, that conversation didn't go as well as it could, but what could I have said so that next time I make sure I get my message across, you're going to learn so much more from thinking about it in that positive way rather than just going, oh, I'm an idiot.
So daily conversations with yourself, as always, right? Yeah, so it's that whole angel and devil thing, right?
Yeah.
One is saying all these mean things to yourself, which the weirdest thing is, for me as a guy, it happens all the time. I speak about this very openly as well, that many times I'm just saying things to myself that are extremely self-deprecating, right? But when times are difficult, those are the things that fuel me, that keep pushing me, because by saying you're how can you be so weak, right? It's like you kind of just suck it up and just do it, and you just go. So it's a very strange thing that internal dialogue it can be so powerful, and yet it can also be so damaging at the same time.
Yeah.
It's that but the whole gratitude thing every day, I think that's fantastic. To be thankful, to find something to be thankful for. And the greatest thing is, when you talk to kids about this, like, this is great. I love it, because if you talk to your kid about what they're grateful for, they just go like pizza and ice cream, McDonald's and French fries or something.
How much joy do they get out of just the little things, right?
Yeah, correct. And that's the thing. So I love that whole idea that we should live our lives backwards, right? That when you're young, you have the wisdom of someone who's that old, so you know how you're going to plan your life. You know what's the end of it. When you reach your middle age, you're there working as you do, right? Doing what you need to do. But because you've already got a plan ahead, it's so fantastic. You know exactly what you're supposed to do, and you've got the knowledge and the ethic to do it. The last one, when you're closer to the tail end of your life, you're playful and joyful like a child. Mm-hmm. So that was the beauty and the wisdom in that thinking about being intentional and being present and enjoying the little things along the way.
Yeah, one of the things in one of my meditations that I really enjoy doing is children explore the world in such a different way to us. So even as simple as touch, right? Mm-hmm. We lose that sort of focus on exploring the world by touching it at some point as adults, and we don't go around sort of, touching all the surfaces and stuff. But actually, sometimes if you just take a minute and you do that, and you explore the world through that sense of touch, whether it's your hands or your feet on the ground and your body and how it feels, and we re-engage with that part of our brain, it's a really great way to explore the world. So I do it on one of the walks where we're walking through the jungle, and it's just touching some of the leaves and the trees and just exploring that world and seeing how different textures feel different and seeing if anything surprises us. It's really enjoyable, and it makes you, appreciate stuff in a way that we don't give ourselves time to in our sort of busy adult worlds. And it is about that. It's like reconnecting with the way we explore the world as children, that has kind of wonder and beauty in it.
Right. Disclaimer, we're not endorsing going around to the park and touching people either, randomly. Please don't do that. Touch the leaves, touch the floor, whatever. Just don't start randomly touching people, all right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I'm so glad you clarified that.
It's just got to put it out there, It's like, people who listen are like-minded like myself, and that means they're a little twisted as well. So you got to, you got the light and you got the dark. You got to see both sides. Okay?
Fair.